Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nanyang European Qualifier. I'm Kyle Guy for Beyond the Summit. That's Gods right there, and what a matchup we have in store for you. It's Vega Squadron going against the 5JuNGz. Who'd have thought it'd come down to this point, Gods?
This has been quite the road for these two teams. I think two of the three favorites coming. I'd put these two teams in monkey business. The two teams who finished in the top three as the kind of top dogs in EU after the invited teams right now. 5JuNGz have just cruised through the winner bracket. They've finally kind of found a way to get past Monkey Business, who'd beaten them in the past. And Vega Squadron, they won the ESL 1 open, well, not the open, the qualifier there. So they've been in really good form lately as well.
Yep. For 5JuNGz, their upper bracket journey comes at a very impressive undefeated streak, 2-0ing all of their opponents across the way, including, as you said, the Monkey Business squad there in the winner bracket final. For Vega, their journey was somewhat of a Cinderella story here for Nanyang. They got bumped down to that lower bracket right at the start when they went up against NIP, and they got muscled out 0-2, so they got stomped pretty hard. And then their journey just began. They started flying through all of their opponents, Alliance, Monkey Business yesterday, very, very impressive there on a nice 2-1, and they earned their spot to be here in the grand final, but we only need one team, Gods. One team only to go off to Singapore and compete at LAN.
That was the surprising thing with Vega. It was very much like going into that series against NIP, I was like, okay, Vega's favorites, not heavy favorites, but they should win. And when they got 2-0'd by NIP, I was just like, oh, Vega, like, they're in bad shape. They're not going to stand a chance. But they kind of just shrugged that one series off, shook it off, and here they are. One best of five, no winner bracket advantage. 5JuNGz have been crushing lately, and the new patch they seem to have quickly adjusted to. They're a really hard team to play and draft against. Yesterday, that was well, the last time we saw them versus Monkey Business in the winner bracket final. That was the big issue Monkey Business had. They wanted to ban and take away the Ember Spirit from a Tumberman. As a result, it was this first pick Ogre Magi that kept getting through. Jarex was roaming around causing all kinds of problems. So Vega take the approach where they ban out the Ogre, and they will give 5JuNGz the Matumberman Ember Spirit.
It's just funny how things have shifted around again in the Dota world, and Ogre is back in top priority for some of these teams, and I couldn't have said it any better. Teams like Vega and 5JuNGz, they're able to adapt so well on the fly. They recognize that, and we'll have to see if it's going to prove worthy for them. 5JuNGz lead in. They get that Ember Spirit you were talking about for themselves, and it looks like we'll be treated to another Fata Beastmaster in the mid lane. So you get all that extra benefit of the scouting potential. And I can't tell you how many times already through this particular tournament, the benefit of having that control on the map, we saw it from like Alliance with Night Stalker in the mid lane, and I don't even know how many times we've already seen Beastmaster up to this point, but it seems like the team that gets that extra bit of control on the map seems to just kind of control the pace of the game.
And as far as the entire hero pool, Ember Spirit is probably the closest thing you can get to a Tinker that's not Tinker himself, as far as having that ability to be anywhere on the map. TP home, TP back. He can use his Remnant where he puts it down, TP's home, refills his bottle, and Remnant's right back. Similarly, he's a hero who loves to rush Boots of Travel these days, and Tinker Beastmaster was a very kind of common strategy if you go back a year or two ago, because you could Boots of Travel onto a Hawk, onto a Quillbore, and made a great ganking duo. And that's where there's a lot of synergy between the Ember Spirit Beastmaster, where Ember Spirit's just a bit more of a relevant pick in the current meta. He can fight a lot better with less items, less farm. And he's just a lot more aggressive and durable compared to the Tinker. Tinker doesn't want to be in the front lines, whereas an Ember Spirit can be because he's got that quick escape. So I think we'll see that Boots of Travel pick up fairly early on, coming out from a Tumberman and using that kind of in tandem with the Hawk, with the Quillbore, and look for those early pickoffs.
We're going into the second phase of bans, and I'm starting to get a newfound appreciation for what happens in this particular phase for a lot of these teams. If 5JuNGz in one of these games just happens to overlook one little step, suddenly Mag gets a Broodmother. And we saw what happens even against Monkey Business. Mag, he was even put in a lane. They tried their best to set up, did Monkey Business, where they put their Moon Legion Commander against the Broodmother, and we're like, okay, whoa, this is going to be a hard time for Broodmother. It's a Legion Commander. But Mag has shown that he's happy to adapt on the fly, turned it into more of a fighting Mother Spider, and he dominated, man. So for now, Vega, though, they ban up the Brood themselves. Just, got to make sure you keep it out. Tusk is going to be the grab here for 5JuNGz, and I'm curious to see what Vega Squadron are going to do to help with the mobility between this Beastmaster and Ember Spirit.
Yeah, I feel like the Dazzle Grave is not going to be enough. You're just going to be reacting, keeping in with a Grave that may not... You need something to turn around the fight. Being able to Grave a carry who gets ganked and keep them alive is one thing, but being able to then re-engage with a different hero and turn the fight around in your favor is the big question. How did Vega Squadron achieve that? They haven't really revealed their big initiator, playmaker, Mag's hero, what that's going to be. Brood's not going to be in the picture. I feel like they want him to be on an initiator, something like a Clockwork. Axe would have been great, something they even run in the safe lane sometimes for Pasha, so we'll see exactly what they're going to be pulling out.
We have seen Mag on the Earthshaker before, and he can be one to initiate if necessary here, but there's still plenty of flexibility on the side of Vega, so it's uncertain yet whether or not they're going to make commitments to one way or the other here. Do you think it's of importance when you already see an early commitment from 5JuNGz that they're going to be going for the Beastmaster here, and we know him for this tremendous amount of lockdown in addition to his map control? It's just, do you go not the path of getting a BKB dependent kind of a hero, but maybe someone who has the option for a Lincoln's? Is that of any importance at all, or is it something that they just have to gloss over?
I think it's always a consideration later on in the game to get the Lincolns or the Lotus Orb against Beastmaster.
Yeah, it's just hard to say. I don't know how far ahead they're thinking for the whole perspective of this game.
They now need to think short-term, laning stage, because Undying Tusk, you're not worried about what's happening in the mid-game when your carry's getting roared. You're worried about how's he even going to get farm in the safe lane against this duo here. So Tusk Undying, brutal to lane against, and there's a lot of just kill potential coming out from these two, and just a lot of ability to pressure whichever safe lane farmer Vega will be playing.
Reflect a bit here as far as Undying, and we know he's been changed up a little bit. A lot of people feel like his tombstone has been completely nerfed out of the picture now that it's been changed up from health to attacks, which early game makes it significantly worse. You just need a couple of supports to just get a hold of it, and it's going to be going down. Late game, it could be varied a bit, but do you think the potency of this duo is still going to be just as good as we saw in 6.84?
I think so. I think most of the potency was with the power of the decay and like the Ice Shard Snowball. The Tombstone was kind of just that added little bit of damage and slow, but very much it's decay just gets them nice and weak, take away their strength, then you block them in with an Ice Shards, you stun them up with the Snowball. I think the Tombstone, at that point, they're always running, they're always on the defensive, so the Tombstone being squishy is not a concern for this lane because you're never putting your Tombstone's never being attacked regardless. Your opponents are always running the hell away because they're so squishy because of decay.
As long as you're putting the tomb in a good spot, that is. Yeah. Don't want to casually throw out in front of you. And then
you don't lead with a Tombstone. Tombstone's like the follow-up to the Snowball Ice Shards.
The nice thing is Vega do have the Lina going, so they have the long range to poke at a certain Tombstone if necessary, and Dazzle's ranged as well. And, to that mid-game period, we'll have a decent attack speed, so they have that going for them. But if this game even goes late, I love the new Agnum's addition to Undying. I think if it's not looked at twice, it could be scary deceptive if you end up going against it. We're talking about 10 strength bonus for each decay. A 5-second decay at that. You get it on at least 4 people, it's like a huge surplus of 600 to 700 life from you and removed from them. It's crazy. I know it's something that Undying in this position might not be able to obtain in a game, but if this game goes long enough, Ice Frog has just granted Undying more options.
Oh, absolutely. And the pick now, for now, Vega, not really going to look too long-term. They want to make sure they have a good laning state. So Razor's been picked up as one of the kind of stronger laning carries. Very defensive in nature. He doesn't actually have a huge amount of kill potential unless he's against a weak lane, like some kind of a melee hero who can just steal a bunch of damage from. But very much geared towards staying alive against Undying Tusk and even getting some farm out of the lane, which Razor should be able to do fairly decently.
Well, we got to start filling the holes here, Gods. We got 4 to each side. Final bans to come out here. 5JuNGz. Looking over to the side of Vega here. We're suspecting, now this could depend, of course, on this Earthshaker a bit, if they're still going to be looking for the Mag hero, or if you think that the Earthshaker will be in the off lane and they can get something else that could be in better tandem with the Dazzle.
I mean, Earthshaker can't really contest lane at all against Ember Spirit, but you're also kind of thinking what can, because we don't know what support is going to be looking to pair up with the Ember Spirit yet. They ban out Kuro's Visage, a bit of a respect ban, and something which would just give a really scary mid-game. You combine some extra damage output from Familiars, Soul Assumptions flying around in a teamfight with Undying, and you're looking at a very potent, strong teamfight in the mid-game to push down a lot of towers.
This is very interesting as well because just both sides have so much flexibility. We just know Jerix to be a roaming support. So initially I'm not like, well, he's not really much of an Undying player. Normally I see Kuro playing the Undying. Tusk is going to be their off-lane setup.
Could be
so
Jarex
is it
as well.
mind control? But yeah, that's the other thing, is it could be Jarex on that 4 position, roaming Tusk.
Yeah.
And it could be Kuro on a silencer then. So, okay. They need, well, the thing is if they're going to be setting up this dual off lane, and it's only going to be a +1 with the Ember up on the safe lane, they'll need someone who can kind of hold their own as a support. And it looks like they're going more for zoning potential. Silencer's Glaives at level 1 is got to be one of the best, if not the best, ways to zone someone out. That pure damage is deceptively good.
Yeah, so the Silencer is going to achieve 2 main things here. Good at zoning, really strong laning hero, and then great at preventing the defensive play from the Vega supports. The counter initiation from a Fissure, from a Grave. When you go on one of these core heroes, you wouldn't be able to burst them down while they're roared. But if a hero gets roared, then gets graved up, there's a Fissure coming out from Mag, suddenly they're being kept alive, and they're back in the fight. So that's where the Silencer really comes into play here for 5JuNGz. And they didn't really need a support with like a lot more disable or lockdown. They've got that covered with the Tusk, with the Beastmaster Roar, even Ember Spirit Searing Chains. Lockdown and crowd control was easily covered already.
Last pick, yeah, that Gyro. It's nice because 5JuNGz have a lineup where we could see them go into just a crazy bar brawl. Tusk snowballing his team forward. So all of a sudden a gyrocopter could pop out from the shadows, leads to a huge call down, huge rocket barrage. Plus it's something most of these teams are, you know, warmed up with. It was one of the big heroes of 6.84. So I guess better in a grand final matchup. You don't want to reach out too far for some of the newer fighting core options. They step off instead for a gyrocopter here. And, well, it's a different era today, actually. I have crashed. The serial has been flattened, but the code looks a little different. So I don't know if there's progress being made. But Valve, I'll tell you right now, the problem still persists. So sorry again, everyone. We're going to have a bit of a black screen here. There'll be no sound whatsoever, and we will have to reload back into the game. It always takes a moment or so. For people in Dota TV, if you happen to be looking into the stream, or for people who are nice in the stream currently and notice people from Dota TV coming out and being like, where's all the audio in the game? Tell them that they could reconnect to the game, disconnect, reconnect, pick our box, and that may fix the issue. So we're coming back now. It sounds like
all the co-casts are reconnecting.
They've actually also paused the game, so don't worry. We're not going to miss any of those early ward battles. Get this all reloaded, and all the casters who have been kicked out are slowly trickling back in the game here. So all right, here we are. We're back in action. So what do we think, Gods, about this 5-man spread? Let's try to read the team composition overall. Things from Vega seem, well, very 6.84, very standard. You know, all your bases kind of covered. Yep. Significant team fight with good defensive supports. And for 5JuNGz, things feel a bit more aggressive. They have the control, though, with the scouting of the Beastmaster and the global silence of the Silencer.
Yeah. To me, yeah, very kind of accurate where it's the 6.84, the gyrocopter kind of play coming out from Vega. Still a strong hero even with the nerfs this hero received. You're not looking at BKB heroes where the cooldown not piercing magic immunity is going to be a big deal for Pasha this game. You're not looking at, I mean, Rocket Barrage does a little bit less damage as well, but...
What is that? Ah, God damn it!
You jinxed it. Like I'm looking over at your screen, I see, you're messing around with spectator mode. You've got an error, and then I look back at mine. I'm like, damn it! I got the exact same error at the exact same time.
I couldn't help myself. I was like looking at the fountain, and I like saw Earthshaker, and his mouth was like quivering. And I'm like, what is happening over here? And he's just like, I don't want to fight.
It's like in Toy Story where the toys are meant to be still when the kid's in the room, and they just break character for that split second. Like, come on, guys, the game's paused. You're not meant to move here.
Okay, let's get back in again. This is going great.
I think overall I like the 5JuNGz draft better, but it's going to come down to the gyrocopter. If he can do that like aggressive style gyrocopter we saw throughout TI4, that's gonna be what it takes for Vega to win this game. It's not really. It's a mid-raiser. It's a very just kind of passive hero in as far as what it can contribute. Maybe we'll see some rotations from Mag on the Shaker being able to make some plays happen, but for the most part, this is a gyrocopter draft coming out of Vega. For 5JuNGz, there's so many more options for them. They can win the laning stage with Undying Tusk, Silencer Ember. They can win the mid game with rotations, a roaming Beastmaster. I just feel like they've got a lot more flexibility with their draft and ways into this game, but you can't just underestimate a gyrocopter, even with the nerfs.
I agree. You can't underestimate a gyrocopter. It's, something we've seen dominant many a time, even in the past couple of days of 6.85. I think the only potential drawback could be that it's just the fact we've seen it so much, and these teams have seen it and gone against it so much that I would hope that it shouldn't be too predictable. We just know Gyrocopter to be a big fighting kind of a core. He'll be persistent in farming in the laning stage, but once level 6, 7, maybe level 8 rolls around, that's when the smoke comes out. That's when he looks to adventure to the opposite side of the map and start putting that call down to use. So as long as 5JuNGz are just aware of that and can recognize when those times are going to be coming and when the peaking gyrocopter is going to, stroll along their lane, they're going to be prepared and ready to go. So hopefully it's not something too predictable, because something they have gone against many a time already. And
something to keep in mind is that gyrocopter in this matchup especially has been somewhat buffed. Against an Undying, he's even better than he used to be, because Undying was always pretty good against Undying and Tombstone, because you can flak, take out all the zombies to kind of deal with them a little bit while attacking the Tombstone. And no one really wants to fight a gyrocopter who's hitting a tomb, because he's got rocket barrage on, he can drop a cooldown. But now, the problem Gyrocopter always suffered from was he lacked physical damage, so it would take a long time to bring down a Tombstone just through sheer right clicks. But with the set amount of attacks to kill the Tombstone, I think Gyro is actually even better against Undying than he used to be now. So I feel like, especially against Undying drafts, Gyrocopter as viable, maybe even more viable than ever.
Yeah, I could see both sides to that. It's interesting, because at level 4, right, it's 7 hits, if I'm not mistaken, here for the Tomb, which at first glance doesn't seem too crazy, especially late game. It's like, oh, they attack so quick, they'll be able to get it down fast. But the nice thing for Undying is the purpose of the Tomb, especially in the late game, could be still there. He drops it, and maybe he's able to even just draw attention away from the actual fight, or maybe something else they're looking to achieve, and they force the enemy team to be more focused on the Tomb. It's still going to take 7 hits to bring down. You got to be freaking kidding me. I did crash again.
I'm like screenshotting this to
this is
pass on.
This serial is worse than the last one now. What has happened? You're talking 3 back-to-back crashes? This is absurd. Volvo, come on. Whatever they did since then, they changed a 1 or a 0. Put it back. I'm happy with the 1
They made
crash.
it so we could hit barracks now, which we can at least be happy about. Or at least, I mean, nobody's tested it yet. Who knows? Maybe it's new issues combined with it, but... The previous patch was issues hitting barracks, which was a fun little change, but
makes you wonder if that was something that had been there for a while, and that the first part of this 6.85 tournament.
And as you guys can see, it's everyone. We've got again, it's something kind of out of our control.
Out. Again, if you were in Dota TV, every time we crash and have to come back, I want to say that people in Dota TV would also need to disconnect and reconnect, just to be able to hear our audio. If you're not hearing our audio. If you're hearing our audio, then just listen to me sound like an idiot and keep going forward with the game. But we're back in. We're going to hope that everything still stays stable for now. It looks like we're not going to have any sort of early invade, no persistence to get down some deep-lined wards. It looks like for now Vega are just going to get something very basic for some rune vision here. Gyro will see that he will have no chance of going for this bottom rune without getting into some serious fisticuffs, so they will split the runes apiece. No one on his Razor will head back towards the mid lane, and he is going to be going toe-to-toe with Fata's Beastmaster here. We saw a lot of serious mid lane game action from No One in the previous series, especially on his Queen of Pain. He went toe-to-toe against Miracle, and he made Miracle not look like an AK player, I'll say that. He just definitely put him in another level, and it was just an impressive series overall for Vega. And you can already see No One's like disrespecting Fata. Get the hell out of my lane.
The important thing is that No One got a really nice block off in the mid lane. I didn't quite see what happened, but I imagine one of the supports was like dedicated to blocking this while No One grabbed the early rune. So
I'm going to cut to, well, I was going to cut to your PC, but it looks like it is currently not available. All right. That's unfortunate. All right, sorry guys, I have crashed again. This is the 4th crash. Well, people watching out there. So hopefully we'll get back in, and this will not be something to deal with all of our grand final. I'll say that as passive-aggressively as possible, gods. Anything breaking out that I'm missing right now?
Nothing too crazy. It looks like for now, 5JuNGz going to control their offlane using the Ice Shards to block in some creeps, and it is going to be a dual range support. The Lina was a support with a Dazzle, so this is how they're going to fight the Undying Tusk lane, with 2 strong range supports and a Gyrocopter. not going to be easy for 5JuNGz to win this off lane. We'll see what happens when they get maybe level 3 on the 2 heroes. Because they can fight 2v3 with, I would say, a level 3 Undying plus Tusk.
That's the thing exactly I was going to say, is that we might not see the actual test come out until these two knuckleheads do get a couple of levels under their belts first. Got to get that tombstone leveled up a bit. I'm curious to see if it puts any value into it. For now, it's just starting with the QW build-up at level 2, but it is interesting to see if that tomb is going to be taken advantage of very, very fast. You don't want to be handing over that chunk of change this early into the game.
Well, against the tri-lane, it's just so much weaker. It's very much, even in the, like, if you're in a 2v2, it has some added benefit because you can fight a lane, but if you're ever in a defensive lane, which is kind of the 2v3 nature, there's zero value in the tomb. It's just, it's cannon fodder. So I like the build we're seeing coming out from Mind Control here on Undying.
We'll touch back again once that level 3 starts coming together. If they're going to be pulling it out mid lane, we'll touch base. CS game so far 9 and 5. CS for no one. Fata at 5 and 2. So it's still a slower start for him. He's trying his best to juggle around the boars a bit and help with that CS game, but no one will do his best to use that little static link to keep him zoned back as much as possible. Seems to be a... Oh my god. I was going to say, it seems to be a bit of a difficult lane for Mag. It looked like he was a bit submissive there, stuck by his tower a bit. The zoning potential of the silencer, as I said in the draft, is very, very strong, and he doesn't want to be taking too many shots uncontested and have to chew through his regen so fast. It looks like from your screen he's already down to 1 tango, so that's a bit rough.
Yeah, the silencer has been just exclusively trying to push him out of the lane, but having level 3 already is a decent amount for him from this off lane. It's can continue it if he wants to keep throwing out fissures to block the wave and pull it back, but for now I think 5JuNGz is happy to give Matumba Man the easy safe lane farm and to go from there.
Alright, I'm back. Get back in it. So no blood to be shed yet. This has got to be the period here. We got level 3 on your Undying here in the bottom lane. What happened to our Tusk? 5JuNGz. We know him to be a mover and a shaker here, gods. He's moving again. Look at this. Eyes potentially on Mag. Oh, they happen to just creep right past each other. 5JuNGz, oh, he gets the back end here of Mag. Mag's going to pull out the totem, smack him with the log a bit. 5JuNGz is like, my work could be done. I'm just looking to zone him back a bit. I'll block him out, and I will force him to watch me pick up the 4-minute rune. It's going to be an invis, and that's going to be Vega on a bit of high alert now, knowing that there's a level 2 Tusk out there in the shadows. And it's going to continue to force Mag to be a bit submissive. So it will be a slow start for the Vega offlaner, I imagine. Yeah.
No one at mid, at least able to bottle Crow, so it doesn't matter too much that he's not getting runes here. And Beastmaster, similar story, where Fata is just bottle crowing away in this mid lane, approaching level 6, though, which is where a Tusk rotation can be very dangerous.
That Tusk, though, looks like he's taking his business all the way to the top lane here. But what he doesn't know is Mag already did step off, pick up some boots, go back to build up his resources once more. And this has left a lot of time for Mind Control to get some solo farm on the bottom. It looks like he has gone back and put 2 levels into the tombstone here. So we'll see if he invests the full 3 points in. At level 5 at that point, you got a snowball out on the loose and maybe even a Beastmaster if possible to rotate in with a roar. I'm sure they'd be able to take out anyone if they can set their sights on it here. But it might have to be Pasha at some point. 24 and 8 CS, and he really hasn't been forced to lean on his
top lane. They've gone in. They've caught Mag.
And he's blocked out. And look at that. 5JuNGz gets the one little corner, and he is just body blocking. This is a check into the wall. Nicely done from 5JuNGz to set up that beautiful blocked play. Kuro's going to get the last hit, and it will be the 5JuNGz who do strike first.
I was just waited. Was in the trees to the left of the lane. Really nice spot from 5JuNGz. Great read and finds an early kill. He is actually the best roaming support player in the game right now. There's very few supports who actually are dedicated roamers / gankers. He's almost like he plays the support role completely his own way. He's so unique in it, and he's so successful every single game, it feels like lately.
I mean, it's definitely caught the eye of their opponents if it's deserving now these, phase 1 kind of a bans. We saw it a lot in 6.84 with 5JuNGz's crazy bounty hunter, and it's back now with the Tusk with the ogre. Oh. And now they got solo here, beautifully blocked up once again from 5JuNGz. They'll both be caught out with the LSA and the Dragon Slave, but Kuro's here now. It's a whole 5JuNGz party here to take out little Lena, and she will be extinguished. Another kill coming together here for 5JuNGz. This seems to be their window of time, gods, to just lay out as much early aggression as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. They're getting a lot done with the Tusk. Early kills going their way. Kuro's even left the top lane, I think, recognizing that Ember's more than okay up here and benefits a bit more from having the solo experience. Man cannot contest this lane. Matumba Man has an easy solo kill on an Earthshaker if Earthshaker ever gets close enough for his Searing Chains, and that's where having Kuro roam, help out elsewhere, provide that extra bit of damage output, and even combo him with the Undying Tusk is going to be a better way for 5JuNGz to play, and they've caught vision of Pasha.
They saw him go sweeping into the lane, and they quickly come out from the dark, and Pasha is frantically looking for somewhere to run to. Snowball comes in, and, well, Mind Control comes around the long way here, gets caught out. His damage will get sapped, but he already had the TP out of there, and he will make it off to safety. Oh, so 5JuNGz, this gank attempt does come up a bit short.
That was a 5-man rotation for Vega. That's definitely okay for 5JuNGz, though. Ember Spirit was still top the entire time. Fata never left the mid lane. So their two farming heroes in mid and top didn't leave their lanes. Meanwhile, Vega TP'd both their mid and their offlaner to that fight. So they'll transition into a tier 1 tower. This is a good kind of response. Like, if that 5-man TP rotation doesn't succeed, you've got to get a tower.
Get something out of it. It looks like the tower will go down, and they still even want to fight here. Matumba Man's first on the scene. He's going to get some of his damage sapped. Now Fata shows up, drops out the Primal Roar, but he has no more mana to follow it up with, so he's eating a lot of damage. Full Rocket Barrage onto Kuro, and no one just whips him with that damage. But Kuro's able to slip away. Look at them all barely making it out with their lives. Jarek's the only one to be going down here, and no one. Huge damage from the tower is going to get saved up from the grave. Now the call down to come out, and Mind Control will go down. Vega quickly string together a couple of kills, and will even this game up 2-2.
5JuNGz made a gutsy call there to try and defend the tier 1, which I don't think was necessary. There was 5 heroes there. They were farming Matumba Man up top. They were farming in the mid lane. He'd hit level 7, so he had the max Flame Guard, but there's so much burst nuke damage coming out that the Flame Guard immediately got taken out.
Oh, little solo. The one left behind here, trying to juke and jump away. Pasha comes in to help. Rocket Barrage on the Matumba Man. He's going to be able to soak it up with the guard, and, well, Solo, who's heading off the wrong way, will be taken apart. And it just felt like from that situation on the bottom lane previous to that, Gods, that maybe 5JuNGz had pulled in all hands on deck because maybe they anticipated Vega would turn around after they got the tier 1 tower and they can maybe get a couple of catches. But Vega were like, we're ready to fight. You rotate in. We'll take advantage of that first person to show up, and we'll recognize that everyone else is going to be delayed that much longer.
And importantly, they burst down the Tombstone very quickly. The TPs came, but their Tombstone maybe was up like a second too early or just wasn't protected well enough. They don't have the best like crowd control spells like a Fissure to keep it alive. And it was, by the time the fight began, there was already no Tombstone on the side of 5JuNGz, which made that a lot more difficult.
Matumba Man moves over to Seema the Slayer, who was spotted out from the bird. Seema should have seen that bird fly over from above, but what he didn't know was that there was an Ember Spirit in his woods. He's just trying to play some wards here. Matumba Man continues to chase. It actually forces out a rotation from Mag, but the Sleight of Fist is still going to get the catch, and Matumba Man says, see you later. Back to the bottom rune area, and he will make it out.
That was, again, TP's forced out. Vega playing very reactionary, and it's just not really the most efficient way right now for them to be using their heroes.
So they got to get back to the grindstone here, Gods. Back into the farm. Pasha, who is happy to trade blows there in the bottom lane previously, needs to get back into work. At level 6, trying to get back to his level 7. You compare that to Matumba Man. He's out. He continues to farm instead of rotating all the time. He's at level 8, and he's finding pickoff opportunities. So he just seems to be so much further than the head, at least at this point, than the Gyro. And Ember Spirit has just as much of a headway and ceiling for the late game as a Gyro would, if not better. So Vega will need to kind of change things up in this game. I'm curious how pressured they are to do so, and if it might have to wait until we get like our Mag Blink Dagger to finally get the turnaround for Vega.
And with the Arcane Boots picked up, I think a fine choice here. You've got a lot of heroes that can benefit from this. And Razor, Lina want to just throw out their nuke, spam down these lanes. Oh, Gyro gets a solo kill at top with a cooldown. That's a nice little freebie. Something you'll often see where the Silencer takes over that safe lane farm. He's doesn't have any escapes. He's your kind of hard support, but a hero you want to get level 6 on. So taking that easy free kill is definitely worth it for Gyrocopter.
Getting a lot of quick reactionary plays. Could
mid,
punish Vega.
solo.
Yeah, they're going for solo mid lane because they saw the rotations to the bottom to go for Matumba Man. And once they recognize solo could be here, well, solo, they move in and they're rewarded with a sweet pickoff.
Yeah, this Tombstone getting a bit stronger now that's level 7. Stage of the game where Mind Control can look to use that to his team's advantage.
Yeah, he did max the tombstone right away, which seems to be the new going trend. Especially early on, if you get to level 7, it's a lot of work.
2 points in the Soul Rip. Seems like 2 points is kind of where the value is. You get the tombstone healed for 4 hits, which is really nice. Doubled up from level 1, and it's very much in this stage of the game primarily used for that tombstone potential. As far as in a team fight, if the tombstone's being focused, you want to Soul Rip it all the time.
No one trying to bully back JuNGz here so that he can claim that 12-minute rune. Boar tries to go for the deny, but no one will pick up the little bounty. That leaves bottom a regen rune.
Sigil's so annoying at this stage of the game. You've got no attack speed, and you're just like, how do I actually right-click when there's a Sigil on top of you?
Makes it for very good synergy with the Undying. Part of the reason we see it so often makes it hard to attack a tomb when you can barely attack as it is. Matama Man, though. 1,500 gold saved up here, gods. What seems to be the first thing? He's got the basics, you know. You got your Aquila, you got your PMS going, upgraded boots. Is it straight to the Battle Fury?
Yeah, I think this is where you go for a bigger item. You've got enough of your basic items. The fact he got Aquila suggests he's not going to get a drums. You don't normally go like drums, Aquila, wand, poor man's shield, treads, and bottle. Drums is very much like, it gives you HP and stats as well as the aggressive potential with the drum charges, but he's got the stats and the HP from the treads plus Aquila, so we'll see a damage item, most likely Battle Fury.
5JuNGz have been scouting out this mid lane. They had the bird and they even committed a smoke, but then Vega rotated into this mid lane, and 5JuNGz realized that maybe this mid-tier 1 tower could be pressured in just a moment. Looks like Vega are ready to push for some more objectives here, or at least take a team fight.
I mean, it's really interesting to see all these early builds from both sides. It's all about tanking up, getting as many stats as possible. Pasha with a Sanj, you've got Razor with Bracer and Wraithband. Everybody is just buying as much cheap, cost-effective stat items as possible.
Feels like both teams could be anticipating more long-winded fights here.
Even Lina with an Urn, that's like a bit of HP, and of course you're fighting a lot. Urn Charge is going to really start racking up, but it's kind of like the Bracer substitute where you just get that nice boost of HP as well.
Looks like Solo will just come up to the top lane. They really wanted to put to use this Laguna here, but the opportunity didn't present itself, and the 5JuNGz are still flirting around this mid lane. Matama Man hanging just a hair off to the side. Could potentially be creeping in. Quick change on the mag. Can he get the quick hit and run here? Certainly can. Nicely done. Global silence to come out as a response is coming from Vega here. They can't quite get the catch. Mind Control is going to go ahead and pop out the ult. The tombstone will get quickly taken apart, but so will Vega's tier 1 tower.
They make it back in.
5JuNGz are flirting with going back in. Chain's actually going to be connecting on the Pasha, but no follow-up. 5JuNGz just kind of flirting with them a bit. They're going to be walking away with a tier 1, though.
The dire ward between the tier 1 and tier 2 was what made all that happen. They had great vision. I think that they planned it from those trees where you don't see it coming down, and as a result, it's just a free kill, global silence, and then a tier 1 tower to boot. So really nice ability to take objectives when they've got global up, but now that's on cooldown, we'll see 5JuNGz go back, farm a little bit before going for another fight or objective when they've got global once again. And this is where Vega want to try and find a pick-off, find a fight, because they know Kuro does not have global.
Well, they're not going the right way, gods. They're heading up through the 5JuNGz woods, but they are going to be a little disappointed when no one here is farming. But no one here is now farming. He will go ahead and take a couple of stacks and take that for themselves. So the Sigil nearby could scout him out. The bird will, certainly. Will 5JuNGz move in there to take what's theirs back?
But say, as soon as you get scouted, you're like, wait, we only have 2 heroes here. This is actually quite a dangerous spot to be.
Get out.
Meanwhile, mid lane, Pasha, oh, he doesn't get the Ice Shards blocked. That would have been a kill with a Roar.
Snowball follow-up is committed from JuNGz. Tamamen says, let's do it, but
that was
feel he's a bit too far.
Ooh.
Very ambitious.
Bit lucky for Pasha. He was too deep there for sure, and just slightly off with the Ice Shards, otherwise it was a kill. Meanwhile, from the high ground, Lina stuns at JuNGz in mid.
Not enough. Oh, it will be. That last little right click, gonna get the value there. JuNGz will go down, and maybe Vega recognize they have the advantage in numbers now.
Didn't get the static link. That's quite a big spell to lose. Even if it is a 25-second cooldown, you do kind of second-guess your push once that static link is instantly lost for 0 damage.
Global's up in 5 seconds here. 5JuNGz could be waiting for it.
They'll likely defend this.
Yeah, Vega may have been timing out that global as well. It seems like the second it's about to come up, they decide to turn back around.
It's the one spell which cooldown is so important for both
Yeah.
teams that it's more important than like it's as important as a Roche timer, knowing when global is back in play. If you're on the side of Vega, someone should definitely be in charge of writing it down, and you want to know to the exact second when it's coming back up. Because if it's 10 seconds away, you can take a fight. If it's 2 seconds away, you can't take a fight.
Pasha commits his call down bottom lane to clear up some farm as Matamaman does step in. They'll eyeball each other a bit. And JuNGz is wandering down here like if this gyro hangs around, we can look for some sort of potential pick, but Vega are going to be continue to be forced to kind of take it very easy here. Don't
T1
want
gonna
to
go
be
down.
too aggressive.
Just some illusions and a creep wave. I think Vega were kind of antsy. Like, I don't think it's safe to push here. There's a lot of here missing. But at the same time, 5JuNGz were like, we don't want to defend. We want to farm our Ancients, which they've actually stacked up, and they'll drop a Tombstone to farm.
And Vega smoked up under a sentry, but obviously they don't know. 5JuNGz will not see it. Fissure to fly, and it looks like a follow-up Echo to help secure a kill. Just a little Kuro here. Felt like Vega were just very thirsty for blood.
Yeah, and that's an okay Echo there, because you don't get he can't hit the totem stun. The only follow-up, like, and Solo wasn't in range for the stun himself. Like,
oh, that's a photo finish right there. Barely making it out. JuNGz just flirting with death.
Yep. And they're going to TP and defend top now.
Double TP, a nice lockdown of the Fissure, holds Fatso in place, which leads to a static link. He's trying to run. The Sigil is helping. No one will not be able to pursue.
And Horror, that's just painful.
Double slow. He can't get anywhere. Meanwhile,
and it opened up mid lane.
Yeah, mid lane is where Solo's going to be going down. Matamaman's going to be able to take advantage of the little lady. And
he causes so many problems everywhere on the map, Matamaman. It's crazy just watching his movements on Ember Spirit, and he's kept up on farm. Like, as he rotates around the map, he's farming jungle camps, he's farming creep waves. He's playing like almost an... It almost like feels like anti-mage-esque at times where he's just like farming in these super aggressive places, going for kills behind enemy towers and behind enemy lines, and then he's got the escape if he needs it, and now he's completed Battlefield. He's almost like he's 1,500 net worth ahead of the Gyrocopter just because he's been farming and fighting a lot more efficiently, whereas Gyrocopter doesn't have that same mobility and has just been kind of grouped up with his team a bit more.
It was something that Merlini was saying yesterday when I was casting with them for Ember Spirit. It's very easy to see when someone is a very polished and high-skilled Ember Spirit and someone who's just kind of going through the motions. I kind of said that less flavy than Merlini likes to say. I toned it down a bit. But he does have a point with it. I mean, you see a Matamaman Ember Spirit, and it's very, very different from the, like, even Miracle Ember Spirit that came into play. I know Big Daddy even played Ember Spirit at one point.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a Matamaman Ember, and he recognizes when he has the opportunity to take a quick fight. As you said, he's very good at being mobile, moving from camp to camp, building up his net worth. 8.7K. He is nearly 2K above the Gyrocopter at this point.
Yeah. I mean, this is just great, insane farm. Like, even like, I mean, I'm like a little pleb player, but like I'll have a great game where I'm like 3-0 in my lane on Ember Spirit, and I don't get a 90-minute Battle Fury Treads bottle. Like, this is just amazing farm, and he's been roaming so much here. He's not just been singing his lane; he's been getting kills. Just he's been controlling the tempo of this game. JuNGz did it for the most part in the early game with his rotations, but now it's Matamaman. You can't go anywhere alone on the Vega side because Ember will find you and he will kill you.
It's not all credit to him, though. Of course, these opportunities wouldn't be available for Matamaman if it wasn't for like the scouting potential that they got with the Beastmaster Boar, or having the Sigil to look around. Having JuNGz to set up these opportunities allows Matamaman to know where it is safe to farm and when it is safe to maybe move in and try to go for a quick pick. Top lane.
We've seen this exchange before. They're going for the top tier 1, easiest Roche of our lives.
Yep.
There's not even a tier 1 mid or bottom to worry about. Matamaman, meanwhile, mid lane, he's trying to go and missed the combo.
A bit too far
As
away.
we're talking him up, he misses.
He's actually trapped in creeps, so we'll have to burn them down. He'll make it out. A bit awkward there, but you know, it's a nice thing for 5JuNGz. Like you said, it's a perfectly good trade for them. I mean, in fact, sometimes you have to see the dire side have to force the Radiant up to the top lane by just pushing it a bit. This time, it's not even necessary. Vega will go out of their own way to move up to this top lane. They got a tier 1, but they would love some more out of it. A tier 2, but already the first one to show up is going to be Matamaman. The rest of his team have smoked and are maybe looking for a flank or a way to cut off Vega from this top. But I don't think they're going to be making it there in time. Vega already out the back door, multiple TPs away. Mag is just going to take the old way back and walk.
That Roshan is such a great timing for 5JuNGz for one big reason, that Earthshaker just got his Blink Dagger. They just picked up a way to initiate in on Matumba Man and kill him off to start a fight. A Blink Echo, followed up by just a general chain stun. There is a global silence, so that wasn't going to be a guarantee regardless, but the Blink Earthshaker was the only way they were ever going to kill Ember Spirit, and as soon as he gets his Blink, Matumba Man's got an Aegis. So 5JuNGz have entirely just shut down this timing window for Vega with this Earthshaker Blink.
You know, Solo did put together a Eul's, which could help if they move in for Ember, and let's say he already has his Flame Guard pop. They can quickly eliminate the Flame Guard with the Eul's, follow up big Laguna damage. It's all in good fun, but yeah, the Aegis is still there.
And the problem with Lina is you can't actually hit the stun Eul's combo against Ember Spirit. He can always get the Fire Remnant out.
Or even Slide of Fist.
Yeah, he's got so many ways to dodge a Lina Eul's stun combo that you need the surprise factor of a Blink stun from an Earthshaker, or a Shadow Blade from Alina where you Shadow Blade and hit a stun, but even that's not an item that Solo wants to farm or go for here.
But to give you an idea of how many bases have been covered by 5JuNGz, even if you somehow make it past all that, Matumba Man drops his mouse and doesn't Slide a Fist or quickly Remnant Array, they have Global Silence from Kuro on the back, just in case, you know? So it's looking like 5JuNGz have just put together a great team composition that just has all of those bases covered. And, well, we're going to be seeing a micro base race here as 5JuNGz now looking to ascend to the high ground, forces out a call down now from Pasha. Matumba Man will step away here, but he does have that extra life. He's going to be happy to dangle himself out in front and see if he can bait out anything from Vega, putting them into maybe an awkward situation that 5JuNGz could turn around. No situation is going to present itself. 5JuNGz get their little bit of poking damage and turn away.
Look at these like lines from Kuro he draws on the map. He's like even telling his team like back off and go this way. Like he drew a line from camp to camp. Like just to give you an example, he's like go this way. Like farm this camp, this camp, this camp. Like he's telling his team exactly how we're going to retreat. Like, okay, he's saying they just committed 5 heroes to defend the high ground. That's okay. We're not going to get a Rax now. We're far ahead. We've got Aegis. Even if we just use this Aegis to farm and get map control, we're still really far ahead. Let's just make sure we get further ahead. It's very much the, rather than look to win the game, you win by just going for one killing blow, you win the game by getting further and further ahead.
Now, all of their team did go up to top. And there's exactly what we were talking about there. But Matumba Man was the one. Oh, look, they caught him out. Solo gets him with a Eul's Laguna. And, oh, the wand is going to get popped from Kuro. And it looks like he'll go up to the high ground and walk away. He does still eat the urn, but he's getting the rip help from Mind Control. And there it is. Every time, oh, look at the return chains coming out from Matumba Man. Annihilate Solo. Follow-up stun coming out from Fata with that Beast Roar is going to take out Pasha. And 5JuNGz just continuing to get everything they please. Jarek's going to commit in, going to get off the Walrus Punch. He's just looking to lock Mag down in place, but Mag is going to be able to get the blink away here. He is on the run. Matumba Man's on the chase. Can he get close enough for the slight? No.
Close, but no cigar.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
I mean, that was potentially a slight overextension from Matumba Man and just 5JuNGz in general, but the Aegis, the Global Silence, they have so much defensive power. Where killing off anyone is so tricky. Not to mention the mech came into play there from the Undying to keep Kuro alive. And it's going to be another tower, another objective. They don't need to go for high ground. They can't really do so. They don't have Aegis anymore, but getting a tower. And again, Kuro drawing lines through the Radiant jungle. He's saying this camp, then we go there. And then he's even finishing the line at bottom lane. Like you farm all 5 of these camps, and then you push out bottom lane. He's got a very clear game plan of exactly how 5JuNGz are going to go from lane to lane, out-farming their opponents, more so than looking for a way. Just it's not like, oh, we got Aegis, let's 5-man push and just blindly run at our opponents. It's very calculated from 5JuNGz.
I could be giving him too much credit, but it does feel like something that's just been premeditated. This looks like a drafting strategy that has been ran before, whether it's in scrims or other matches, but just the way they have all of those bases covered. You look to sweep in, it's so hard to even get Curl. Bottom lane, though, weave. Matumba Man slides a fist, can't get away. Will be going down. Vega are going to be able to get the pick on the elusive Fireman.
Yeah, the Blink Shaker coming into play there. That's what they've been waiting for some time, is just getting that key pick off. And it's at this stage, it's just one pick off which they can't turn into a tower, a Roshan, any kind of even if you get a follow-up pick off, it's great. It's still what Vega need more of. And what works for them, but they need to not just get the one pick off, they need more than that. And that was like a 5-hero commitment. You have Fata farming at the top lane, who's about to pick up what I imagine will be a Blink Dagger, so it's still a tough work for Vega to turn this game around, but I like what we're seeing here. They do manage to potentially turn it into a tier 2 tower. all the way from bottom, they pushed up the mid lane, and they're going to reach this tier 2 tower with 15 seconds still on the Ember Spirit respawn.
Yeah, it started with that pick off. Could have been different if Kuro's global was up, but still needed about 8 seconds or so. So Vega able to take advantage of what was a very small window to get that kind of pick. And they would follow it up with a sweet little objective. It's not quite enough to get Vega on par with the potential that 5JuNGz have at this point in the game, but every little step does matter. And the second that Vega get that little step, gods, 5JuNGz go right back on the prowl here, smoked up, heading across Roche's neighborhood here. They're looking for a big fight to potentially segue into a push into that high ground, if possible.
Vega's done a really good job of preventing deep 5JuNGz wards in their territory, which means this smoke gank is not necessarily going in blind, but it's a lot harder to find a pick off when you don't have that deep vision. They're going to try send the Hawk out, but
counter smoke.
It's not always guaranteed to find something. And oh, no one walks into a nice shards while smoked up. He's going to see what he can find. And Kuro in a great position. Well, he was in a great position
they
to scout
see him
the smoke,
though. Nice. He's going for the ward removal here. Has a glimmer. They're going to stalk the area. He shows himself, dishes out a last word, and he knows he's dead. He's just going to get off what damage he can before he goes. And just one of those things to support. Sometimes you just kind of put yourself out there on a limb to get a proper D ward, and well, Vega were already on the move with their own smoke. And
he did get a deep ward down, and that's where he thought he was safe there. He's like, okay, I just put down this deep ward in the Radiant jungle. Vision, that's exactly what 5JuNGz want right now, to be able to take stuff like Roshan, find pickoffs. And then he gets caught out because Vega had actually smoked up. So a silencer tanking a smoke gank, not really a big deal for 5JuNGz. They're still very much in control of this game. Not far ahead. It's still like one bad team fight, and Vega are going to be the ones in the lead. So it does feel like this next big team fight is going to dictate a lot. But it's very much map control heavily favoring 5JuNGz. They're the ones pressuring lanes, and Vega the ones constantly kind of reacting to 5JuNGz movement around the map.
Do have some big items coming together for Vega. Solo has started work on his Agnums for the Lina. Already has the point booster and nearly 1,400 gold towards the next component. We look up to Pasha, who could be dancing around here with Matama Man a bit. He's got his BKB complete, full 10 seconds, and we know the SMY had been done here. But where does 9 Pasha need to go from here, gods? Like, to be able to contest a late game Ember Spirit, you have to also juggle around the initiation of this Beastmaster. There's going to be a global silence going off. Feels like a lot on the plate of him, but hold on before you get your answer. Mid lane, Yule's on the mind control, follow-up static link here. He's able to rip, he's able to use his Greaves. He's walking away, he's still fine, he's good. And the turnaround, no one going to get caught out with the Beastmaster Roar, even through his BKB. Slowly trying to walk away here. Matama Man, though, on chase. Global silence comes out. Kuro will lose his own life as a trade, but it's a worthy one for 5JuNGz. And now they sweep in for Solo, who's got no more mana. She gets uppercutted to hell, and she will get dropped. A 2-for-1 trade that goes for the advantage of the Dire.
Yeah, just Vega thought they had to pick up Undying, so tanky with the Greaves, the cloak, everything about him right now just made him hard to bring down the defensive Soul Rip, and just couldn't quite finish him off. And to go back to your question about the Gyrocopter, it almost feels like it's not going to, like his item choices, like he can't itemize to deal with a Roar, to deal with a Global, to fight an Ember straight on, because Ember's problem is locking him down, which is something Gyro can't provide unless he goes for something gimmicky like a Hex or an Abyssal Blade. He's just going to go for a standard Butterfly, Helm of the Dominator, Satanic type build, I imagine, but he's very reliant on his team, and that's one of the weaknesses in the late game of of Gyro as a carry, is he doesn't have that good lockdown. He doesn't have that ability to control a fight like some other carries can.
As 5JuNGz continue to move in, trying to get a hold of this Roche here, Vega have made their presence known. They even lead in with a call down at the doorstep of the Roche pit, but there is going to be no follow-up. And the second that the Aegis goes down, it looked like Jerax was trying to commit in with a blink to catch someone out. Won't quite get the block, and Jerax actually puts himself in a bit of an awkward spot here, but it doesn't look like Vega know what's happening. He snowballs out towards the creeps. Do Vega see this? They pinged it, but he's already gone.
Seem unsure. They see some Heroes Min, they're like, oh, that Tusk was actually kind of alone. I guess we could have gotten a kill there, but...
Well, actually forced Vega to kind of sidestep a bit, and the rest of 5JuNGz just kind of eased on out of there to their convenience. And look at this, Vega, even though an Aegis had just been snagged up, they are happy to press on.
Yeah, I feel like late game they don't match up well. They're going to struggle as far as control for the Ember Spirit goes, and once there's like a Lincoln's or something on his side, maybe you go for even a BKB to deal with the Earthshaker stuns. Game gets a lot trickier. So I feel like even with the Aegis being picked up by 5JuNGz, if you could fight, Vega's 5-man is still the stronger of the two. Tombstone is getting to a stage where it can be dealt with as well. You've got Lina, Razor, Gyrocopter, you can all attack it, bring it down nice and fast. So definitely Vega feel interested in taking a team fight. They don't want to just 5-man siege this tower. That's kind of just plays into the Ember Spirit's hands. He can just chip away constantly, which he's going to do regardless. So 5JuNGz won't engage until there's like multiple heroes low on HP. They'll just keep spamming Sleight of Fist, Ice Shards, and then once they feel like, okay, this hero on the front lines is down to half HP, now let's commit.
And I agree with what you were saying before. It's just Vega, they have to recognize that this game isn't going down a good road for them. The later it goes, I don't know if they're going to be able to match up with this Matama Man Ember at this point. He's already got his Battle Fury, a Daedalus, still gets to hold the security of his extra life. We can already see the inkling of how much damage these Sleight of Fists do. It's got to be a bit concerning here for Vega, so unless they're able to press on here and take a huge fight, they're going to be stuck in one of those very submissive stages where they're constantly waiting in their base, and 5JuNGz can press their advantage as much as possible. And it's only going to get worse as the clock does tick. But here comes 5JuNGz all the way down to the bottom part of this map. They will take the farm through Vega's territory here. And this is what I'm talking about. Vega just kind of stuck, moving around a bit, inching on out, but can't really fully commit onto anything. They're just trying to get some items completed here. Solo is very close to this Agnum Scepter. They would love to have that pure damage burst.
Oh, Pasha getting a bit greedy. He's thinking that 5JuNGz may be bottom. He's got a few heroes in close pursuit.
Matama Man, long Sleight of Fist will only catch the Ancients a little bit.
If Beastmaster's not there... Oh, I guess there's two heroes who have abilities to pierce through BKB, so there's no real way to BKB TP against Beastmaster and Tusk. And that's the other area where, for Gyrocopter, it's going to be hard here in the late game. He's in deep. He's been spotted. Jerex in pursuit. Blink on cooldown, and Pasha's away.
Yep, gone.
Has picked up the Talisman, so we'll be a Butterfly, and talked about just like Butterfly into Helm the Dominator. I think that's really the only option Pasha has. Could skip the lifesteal aspect and go like Butterfly into a damage item, but I don't think like getting more damage on Gyro. Like Gyro's lack of right-click damage doesn't seem to be the issue.
Sweep in from Matama Man, but the global will come out, and Mag is able to force away to safety. That could have been a successful baited global right there for Vega. Very nicely done.
If they don't global, they potentially get his Aegis for free. Well, they can kill his Aegis and back off, and they immediately smoke. I like this from Vega. They're looking to go on the offensive, even with the Aegis on 5JuNGz. They just know they can win a fight right now.
Yeah, definitely. With that global being down, this is Vega's time. It's one of the few windows that might have just opened up for them, but can they get the catch on the 5JuNGz, who are probably not going to be looking to take a fight and are going to try to stay elusive here. They start splitting apart. Jerex goes into Glimmer, heads south. Mag able to get the catch here. Masha move in. They're going to get fought to the Beastmaster. Will be slain. And now they look to Matama Man. He's got a Remnant. He'll get his damage soaked up. Step back, Sleight of Fist. See you later. Hops the other direction, but Solo catches him with the Yules. And there it is. The quick Remnant dodge will avoid the LSA, and he'll be heading back to his company.
Chase. There's no global silence here. If they can get all 5 together, Solo will look for another stun. He's no Yules for 8 seconds, but he's in pursuit. He's trying to get a Yules onto Undying here. I think he knows he might be able to catch up.
A casting range nerf, though. Oh, eats the chain Sleight of Fist. Are they going to commit for the solo kill? Looks like Matama Man will. 2 fights break out. It looks like they're going to be able to take out Kuro, but it's an exchange for Solo. Now they're going for Matama Man, and he's able to Remnant away again. This guy's a Houdini. Escapes trouble once more.
Oh, Mind Control doesn't get found by Mag.
Oh, he is going to be out of there.
I mean, Vega played that overall well. I like what Solo is doing chasing. He ends up going down because of a Sleight of Fist crit, which is a bit unfortunate. You can't really calculate for that always, and if that Sleight of Fist doesn't Daedalus crit on him, I think he's fine there and doesn't die. But he knew there's no global. We just killed off Beastmaster. He wanted to chase, and he's fast, much faster than an Undying. He's got the extra movement speed from the Fiery Souls and was in hot pursuit, but he's kind of, his teammates can't really keep up with him. He's chasing fast and chasing into a Tombstone as well as 3 heroes, but it does lead to an additional kill onto Kuro's Lina, so it's on Kuro's Silencer, so not a terrible trade for them by any means. And it's time wasted where the Aegis has now expired, so
yeah,
puts 5JuNGz on the defensive again. Matumba Man, so confident, has picked up a Demon Edge. He's just like, what's actually killing me this game?
It's
Nothing.
good. It's a good stall tactic, I want to say, for Vega to be able to get that kind of a trade, but I don't know if they're a team who wants to just stall. I feel like any chance that these fights break out and Vega get to break even, I don't think that's a win for Vega, in my opinion. I think they would have to be coming out on top each time, being able to put themselves back into contention and move to the other side.
You know, for a long time I was kind of talking about like, oh, I don't think they really want to go late game, but I mean, with Lina actually looking like a late game core rather than a support, it changes things a bit. It definitely adds that extra little element here where Lina with a Yule's Aghanim Scepter can transition somewhat decently. I feel like the main thing they need is not to rely solely on Earthshaker to lock down Gyrocopter. They've got to farm a Sheepstick on Lina, I want to say. I can't see any other way they get locked down unless we see something like even an Abyssal Gyrocopter doesn't really cut it because it's too close range. Like Ember can just stay away from it. So I feel like the Lina farming a Hex next is the way to go for Vega to go into the late game. Like if we want to talk about how Vega can win a late game scenario, they can do so through itemization.
Or Dazzle? Did you see he has an ulti orb?
Oh, okay. Is Dazzle that farmed?
I don't know where that ball came from, but he got an ulti orb all of a sudden. And, well, there's your Sheepstick right there.
That is a Hex coming. Oh, go double Hex then. Why not? The issue is lockdown, and you want lockdown on as many heroes as possible, because like, what if the fight starts and Earthshaker dies during the global silence? He hasn't got a way to dispel off the global silence. He's got 4-staff blink, so let's say 5JuNGz have a gem, they get him with a roar, they get him with a Searing Chains, Ember jumps on him. You've just lost all of your lockdown, and once Earthshaker's dead, Ember Spirit is invulnerable for the entire fight, assuming he has got he hasn't wasted his Remnant and plays things smart, as we've seen him do the entire game. So you can't have all your lockdown on one hero in a late game scenario, and that's where picking up hexes on Lina, on Dazzle is going to be important. And that's where I feel like not even just Dazzle, because again, what happens if Dazzle and Earthshaker are both dead? You want that. You want as many heroes with lockdown as is feasible. Gyrocopter, it's just not possible. Razor, not really possible.
You gotta fill in those holes with items, and I guess that's a good argument for why Vega would want to stall this game out a little bit to get those items, to have more options, more lockdown options, to be able to kind of counter the game as it is. But as it stands right now, those lockdown options seem few and far between. Not the best amount right now. So it's just juggling that time frame of taking the time you need to build up these extra items and more in your arsenal to be able to go against the tremendous powerhouse of 5JuNGz right now, getting it in time, whereas 5JuNGz are not going to be able to at least match up the farm and more devastation, more powerhouse items, more damage, like a second Daedalus to be coming out here for Ember Spirit. It's nice if you get a Sheepstick, but if you die in one sleight of fist, you know, you're not going to be looking so good. And even more time for Fata. He's got nearly 1,200 gold. Already has his basic Beastmaster tool belt here. A Book 3, a Blink Dagger, a Solar Crest. They're also just going to continue to get more and more scary.
Yeah. And I mentioned Matumba Man's Demon Edge. Probably for an MKB, once he sees the Gyro going into evasion, he wants to just make sure he has an MKB so he's not having his damage negated. So from here on out, game gets quite interesting. 5JuNGz still should have Roche control, but we've seen even with Aegis, next time will be Aegis and Cheese on their side, it doesn't convert to a Rax all the time. They got that top tier 3 tower down to half HP, but only because Vega weren't in position to defend. They were on the bottom side of the map taking a tier 1 and tier 2 tower, and that was like some 20 minutes ago when Vega were a whole lot weaker. So we get to this stage of the game where you've got no one tanking out with armor. He's picked up a plate mail, and things start to look a bit better for Vega, not to mention Dazzle Weave. Like, they can negate a lot of Ember's damage output through the bonus armor we'll see from Weave, from just itemization as well.
Also, Mag picked up a Shadow Amulet, so more options to be a bit more sneaky. Going straight for a Shadow Blade, I imagine. I don't think a Glimmer Cape is, or a second Glimmer Cape is really necessary.
No, there's not crazy magic burst. There is a gem Necro 3 on the dire side, but Ember's often alone is the thing, like where he's feeling confident, he wants to solo split push a lane, and he's never going to have a gem. So I think that's where this Shadow Blade comes into play as a viable item. Even with Necro 3 and gem on the dire side, the gem is not always going to be there to protect Ember Spirit. Like, even what you look at where he is now, he's up deep in this top lane while his team are further back in the jungle. So Earthshaker can just Shadow Blade forward, use this to scout and try and get a catch on Matumba Man, or just like we saw earlier, force out a global silence and bait that out, and then you can go into a smoke play, look for a team fight once global's on cooldown.
Will be tricky. Those kind of opportunities like Mag had before seem to be kind of like an eclipse.
Yes. They don't happen often. It's
especially after they happen one time already.
This game very much comes down to just taking what few opportunities are going to be there for you. And Mag scouts him, but I think he realizes...
Blade. He has to go right to use. Sleight of Fist in. Forces a BKB commitment. There's going to be the Echo from Mag, but it's not going to lead to a whole lot of much extra. No one. Going to get caught out with the Beastmaster Roar, and he goes down before a response can even come out, but Matumba Man is going to be the exchange. Beautifully done from Solo and company, and well, we'll have to see fizzling it out for the rest outside these two cores.
They're
going to get uppercutted, and a big call down from Pasha. He has shown up. He is BKB'd, and he is causing destruction. Mind Control could be the next to go down here. He can't make his way around the fissure. Mag has blocked out Pasha, and now he has to wait for it to explode before he can go through. He's got it. It looks like Mind Control is going to get dropped from the rocket there at the end. JuNGz has got himself caught into the trees, and he can't make it away. Glimmer Cape, TP, but the fissure does fly out from Mag. He forces his way in through the trees, and JuNGz is going to be able to blink away. Pasha's still on chase, though. Activates the phase boots. Ice Frog gave him the extra speed, and oh, a nice block comes out from JuNGz, and he's going to be able to make it away. One of the few survivors from the side of 5JuNGz. I'd have to say a nice fight for Vega.
Yeah, that was just some insane team play coming out. The Earthshaker Lina, Echo Laguna just to bring down Matumba Man, but that's all you've got to do every fight is kill off this Ember Spirit. They're saving the Blink Echo from Matumba Man exclusively, and the key thing there was when the global came out, like Earthshaker led off the fight, he backed off with a force up and immediately waited for that global to wear off. If he dies during that global, you can't kill the Matumba Man Ember Spirit later on. So keeping the Earthshaker alive is paramount right now for Vega as far as their team fight's concerned. And Dazzle unfortunately couldn't get the Grave off on Razor. Like, was close to getting it, but didn't quite. I don't think it would have made the fight even more Vega favored, but the big thing is Dazzle survives. He's got 2k gold. He's almost got a Hex now.
Yeah, that's great. Starting to scavenge through some of these inventories, and now that, you know, Solo's been able to finish his Ags, maybe Dazzle once he finishes the Sheepstick, do they need to start prepping for this global, or is it not really a big deal? I mean, you look at Kuro, and yeah, global's a big deal, but he's not going towards a refresher. He's not going towards an Ags or anything like that. Now, JuNGz, though, gets caught out, blocked in, still survives with the help of the wand, goes into Glimmer Cape, looking to step back and away, but Mag gets him. Big Enchant Totem smack of the club, and Tusk will fall. Pasha, BKB's forced, but here comes the follow-up Primal Roar. There's going to be the global now coming out from Kuro, and Pasha will be brought down. This is a big grab for 5JuNGz. Look at Mag jump in, big Echo between the three, but
Lina's
not going to be
though.
enough.
If they had Fata there, it would have been good.
Oh, Fata going to get taken care of. Solo will also lose his own life, and no one caught behind, and it's going to be a 3v1 onto him. Double kill from Matumba Man. Seaman the Slayer going to be able to barely scathe away with his extra big gold purse, but 5JuNGz find their opportunity to sweep in. They take down both cores from the side of Vega, and it looks like they'll be able to follow it up with an Aegis.
Yeah. Mag knew that Lina was nearby, and I think it was very much like, okay, Lina's right there. This is a great Echo. Let's go for it. But Lina was kind of zoned out from the fight by Beastmaster. If Lina could have folded up with the Laguna onto Ember, or even just an LSA Dragon Slave, because that could have been a 3-hero stun, it would have been incredible for Vega. But
what's Vega doing here? Is it really necessary? Like, is the game out of hands that you try to go for something crazy?
They've got no detection, I think, on the Dire side is the crazy thing. Mag's just going to Shadow Blade in.
He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. Grabs a haste rune, goes back in.
Oh,
it's so low! He got the enchant totem. He just annihilates Matumba Man. Did he get the Aegis? He can't grab it. He's just full, but he gets the hell out of there. Mag.
He knew they had no detection. He scouts first. He scouts at Kuro, who's the silencer. Then who's like trying to zone him away. And he's like, okay, if silencer hasn't got detection, Undying, I guess Undying could have, but he was very much like, I just took their gem. There's no Necro 3. Silencer has no sentries. I can just walk on in. This is great. Mag with some huge plays. Doesn't, unfortunately, have room. He would have had to drop his Void Stone there, and he doesn't have a guarantee.
Aegis is on Undying now.
Yeah, this
Mag
is
is like, I'm happy.
And a kill on Ember Spirit. Mag gets a lot of money out of it, can build towards maybe a Hex of his own. I was about to say, this could be a Yules to deal with the to deal with the global silence, but I feel like I feel like Hex may be better.
No one just swept in and couldn't quite get the catch onto mind control there with the Shivas.
Actually aggressive as well, but I don't think you want to commit to an Undying who's got Pipe, Greaves, and an Aegis.
Vega are feeling it right now. They got that boost from the Roche Pit, and
they got the Hex.
They turned to fight. They got the Hex on the Dazzle. The position 5 Dazzle here.
Game's going to get a bit harder for Ember. This is where he's going to consider a Lincoln Sphere as his next item. Or he's going to be asking teammates like, guys, buy a Lotus Orb, please.
I mean, even I was going to say Vega could use their own Lotus Orb. It would help against the global a bit.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This is late game Lotus Orb, very much like a repel in an item slot. And it's something where against global, it's great. Against stuff like Raw, it's great. Against the Hexes especially, it's going to be fantastic in the late game scenario. Tusk is probably going to see a Lotus Orb as his next time, I'd say, but it's too soon to tell. Even someone like Beastmaster probably wants to go for something bigger like a Refresher.
But is it enough still for Vega? You're talking about tremendous high ground potential here for 5JuNGz, especially with that Sleight of Fist defense. Being able to break through that could be tough, but they're taking the necessary steps to prepare. I mean, Razor with his Shiva is now complete, gives extra durability to himself to deal with it. Just don't know yet if, bottom lane, Mag gets caught out with the Primal Roar axes, and that is a one-man takedown from Fata.
Yeah, that's a quick little drive-by, and the team is coming now from the north.
This is 1 minute without the threat of an echo. That's a huge chunk of Vega's high ground defense now just
The question
gone.
is if they know that, because Earthshaker just got a ton of kills with the Roshan Pit. They probably expect him to have a buyback that they're going to force out, but it's actually just not there. He's been buying too many little items for his Lotus Orb.
Quickly clear out the creeps here. Matamamen looks to step back. Oh, that rocket.
And they're going to deal with the split push from Solo. Yep. They actually want to pick off on Solo.
They will go for it. Blink in. Walrus punch. Solo will self-fuels. Solo gets off an LSA. Gets off an Urn. The block's not there. Oh, my. Solo is gone.
Well, he says, I can 3-2-2. You guys can 3-2-2 also.
Oh, an unforgiving Shard is going to bop Solo the other side, and he will get away with the crime of a century there. That's
one of those things which is like kind of tilting in this in the late game stage, where it's just like that should have been such an easy free pickoff. Wow, Diffusal Blade.
Illusion.
Solo is just, he's taking that farming number and he's lowering it down. He's gone from a 4 position to 3 to 2, and he's become one of the most valuable Vega members right now on the squad.
Can purge off Flame Guard. Can purge off Global Silence.
Yes.
And I think it's mostly for the Global Silence.
And it's a 0 cooldown. He could just boop, 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 his whole team off the silence.
I
technically,
like it.
You know, quick cast it.
And it's better that, like, I feel like people who talk about Yules as a counter to Global Silence don't really talk about the downside of using Yules as a... You throw yourself up in the... You can't... It's still 2 seconds where you're disabled. Yes, you're invulnerable in the air, but it's not an instant dispel on the Global Silence in the sense where you diffuse off Global, you can instantly turn and fight, throw Laguna Blade. But if you use yourself, you're in the air for 2 seconds and you're not doing anything.
So is the 0 cooldown Diffusal Blade the new anti-silencer? Just pick it up on someone and... Just go through one by one?
Not entirely, but it's definitely a good item to have, I think. I don't think he needs to use it on every... Like, it doesn't need to be a 5-man purge. He may use it on some key heroes like a Dazzle. Yeah. Make sure you get the Grave off, because they'll likely use the Global as they raw someone like Razor or Gyro. They want to kill off the Gyro during the Global, so if you can get the Grave off by diffusing the Dazzle, fantastic. Especially once Gyro has Satanic, because when he's got Satanic, you get that burst heal. So if Gyro survives with a Grave and while he's roared, and then can get Satanic off and start attacking, suddenly Gyro goes from 1 HP to full HP, and the fight is won for Vega. That is a very realistic possibility in a late game scenario. Whether or not Vega can execute in a teamfight setting is another matter. Earthshaker doesn't need the Diffusal because he's got the Lotus Orb now as a defensive item, so Vega has itemized very well to counterplay what we're seeing on the 5JuNGz side.
Dota is just such a cruel game sometimes, and I feel like so many people, especially like a lot of the pros when they even cast games, just it's so crazy. It's like we were even considering like Vega. It felt like there for a while there might have been no potential comeback for them. It looked like 5JuNGz took a big fight. They moved into the Roche. They were going to have an Aegis and soon push into the high ground, but a cheeky play from Mag, solo split pushing, able to get away. These little things add up, and Vega right back into this game. And I am not feeling as confident with 5JuNGz as I did previous, though.
Mag scouting at top.
Quite a game ahead of us here.
The gem is on Fata now, so has to be careful about that. He sees Matumba, man. He wants to go. Does he dare?
Here. Look at them right around the corner. Oh.
Defensive weave.
Yep.
And 5JuNGz back off. I imagine they've seen some of these item pickups and it's just like, we want to fight somewhere where it's just more structured, organized. Get that German efficiency going and just fight in like a narrow pathway, like such as, I mean, the high ground of their base. Come and push Vega. They're probably thinking that's going to happen, and it's going to be a retreat from both teams. But that was a very kind of like a fight in that area of the jungle. Impossible to call who wins it. It's going to come down to just where and how the spells go flying, whether or not you can burst down someone like a Gyro before a Graves comes out. If Lena's in a good position to Laguna someone like Matumba Man. So 5JuNGz not interested in taking such an unpredictable team fight location.
Just kind of recognizing the situation in hand here. It wasn't as comfortable as it was previous. Is it fear from the side of 5JuNGz that maybe just some of the potential has fallen off a bit and they're grasping at ways to just kind of make up for it through items? Undying is very utility built up now, so he can't offer a lot maybe as far as damage, but he can definitely crowd control a bit, make things a bit hectic with his tombstone. He has all that healing power now. He's got a pipe, but outside of that, you know,
there's definitely some fear. At the moment, especially, Ember does not have buyback. He's upgraded to the Boots of Travel and bought a BKB, which was an important item. He needed either this or the Lincoln Steel with the Hex, but Lincolns can be broken by a few things. I guess actually not that many things. The main thing would be like a Diffusal charge from Lena. Would probably be your best bet. But needed that one defensive item.
That
they
like,
smoke up, but they immediately throw spells here. I don't know if Vega...
Onto illusions, too.
Yeah. They didn't come out of smoke, but... Okay, now Matumba Man does. I think says, he probably realizes what's going on. And
oh, Jerix tried to blink over.
He's
didn't quite catch
alone,
the ledge here.
as alone can be. But
Seema's Slayer.
He's gone in deep.
It's isolated between the two, but this Dazzle is pretty tanky. Oh, look at this. Mag makes a move onto Fata. It's going to force out the global. There's going to be a quick Lotus to purge off the silence, but it doesn't actually work. He's still silenced up, it looks like. Steps back and away here, but Matumba Man looking to engage. No one. Chasing down Curl. Going for the silencer off on the left-hand side, but meanwhile, back and below, they're going to move on in. Mind control now. Soaking up a big rocket barrage here. Gets caught out with the LSA, and they're going to finish him off. Kuro does go down at the same moment. Mag is going to get the catch onto that, and Vega have quickly taken down 3 all day. They lose no one here, gods. Vega back in firm control of this, and here they come. Right down this bottom lane. 5JuNGz are actually going to be put in a high ground defensive position.
Fata just getting kind of isolated there. He has a refresher, did not get off a single roar, didn't get his Necrobook out, and just a great initiation coming out. Urshiga got silenced again by the last word after getting rid of the global silence, but did just get him that one extra stun off, and Matumba Man through his BKB just wasn't doing enough damage, and this is looking like at least one lane of Rax. Fata has buyback, but I think they may just wait to defend the second lane of Rax since they can easily... I mean, for 5JuNGz, they can fight down one lane of Rax, but they've still find themselves now in a very bad position here in the late game.
Still more time. Fata does not want to be forced to buy back here, but they are now on
He
the
wants to
verge
wait
of...
to like Undying and Silence to be back as well, so they can get a full 5v5 engagement.
This tier 3 is definitely going to drop.
They're gonna
Vega are
back
happy
up.
to take with that, and they will smoke and retreat here.
The smoke?
They are beelining it to the Roche pit. The smoke could be just to get him out there faster for all we know.
I'd say that's, especially late game, that's an expensive smoke usage just because of how few you get.
Just get to the Roche fast. Get in there, get it done. Go, go, go. Don't they have a Solar Crest 2 on someone? I feel like they do.
Dire Side do. Radiant.
Yeah, oh, I thought they did.
No, Dazzle didn't actually go for one this game.
And the Lotus Orb from Mag. I noticed that didn't really purge off the silence. I thought that was a bit awkward.
He got rid of the global silence, and then he got re-silenced by Last Word.
Oh, the Last Word. Yeah. Okay, that's what it was. All right, well, Roche goes down. Aegis will be pocketed by No one on the Razor here. Oh, BKB
Whoa.
TP from Pasha. That is playing it super safe. And you know what? They may be right because here comes 5JuNGz. Shard's not going to be able to get the catch. Solo's going to be TPing away, and Vega. Looks like they'll be getting away.
I think they felt like they were they had no
Fata,
vision.
Though, Fata is like, this Dazzle is not going to get away. I'm going to look for him here, but what he doesn't know is Dazzle's now picked up a Blink Dagger and is using it to hide out.
Has Pasha's helm even that he's holding on to. I think Vega just felt very vulnerable. The dire vision around the pit was fantastic. Hawk as well as 2 Observer Wards. And Radiant Vision right now is actually kind of non-existent. So very much 5JuNGz with the Necro Book, with the gem throughout this game, have been de-warding most of the map. So they felt like we have no vision, let's just get the hell out.
Look at this graph. 1 point in this game, nearly 8K net worth advantage for 5JuNGz. It is 14K net worth for Vega, over 10K XP.
That's an absurd swing.
This is such a resilient squad.
And that's
really never say die.
I guess the Rax is giving a lot of money, Roshan money, tower money, teamfight money, gem being exchanged. Sure. You add all that up, and yeah, you're looking at a big gold swing. But
what is Solo getting now? I am so curious. He has been itemizing so well this game and just continues to make his Lina a presence. He's got
probably the Octarine, I guess.
Yeah, after splitting off the boots, committing for boots of travel. Octarine.
Oh, he may just sell. He probably just sells. Could sell and upgrade the, replace it with something else like a Hex. I don't think Octarine is necessarily
another
the best
Solar
item.
Crest to help with all those silences. I mean, whatever it may be, he has the extra slot to work with, and he has the farm. I mean, at least 2,700 for now. I imagine he's holding a bit for the buyback here, and they're going to start pressuring this top lane. It will force the 5JuNGz back.
Ember's got buyback, so he can be kind of on the front lines and looking to do as much. I mean, you don't want him dying, for one thing, but worst comes to worst, you can resort to that buyback.
They're going to have Pasha out in front. He doesn't have the Aegis. He does have a cheese, but it's no one who has the Aegis here, and this Razor is yet to really go inside the base. So Pasha going to commit with a call down here. He is getting pretty low. He's waiting. Now the cheese is going to get popped. They're looking to go from Matama Man, who is going to jump back and then into the action up and above here, but they have already taken out Jerix. Forces out the buyback now. Looks like Pasha will step back away. Fata pops out a new refresher, and the global will come out. But look at Mag going in. He's able to purge off the silence, commit with a beautiful echo, and Fata will go down. Look at this. Vega committing on in, looking to end out this game, but Matama Man, not if he has anything to say, pops his BKB and just annihilates the crew with a huge sleight of fist. Seema is going to be forced to blink up north to try to retreat out, and he will be the lone survivor. 5JuNGz pull out one hell of a defense, and they are back in this game.
Just so many sick, ballsy plays from both sides. 5JuNGz hold just through sheer numbers. It was multiple buybacks that they had to use. At least 2, it looks like, yeah, Tusk and Beastmaster both buying back. I don't know if the Beastmaster in the end needed to buy back. It seemed like they had won the fight without him buying back. He didn't actually have another Shaker Lina. I think they want to try scare 5JuNGz back because Razor actually does not have buyback. So it's still only 3 heroes alive. I think 5JuNGz look at this like, yeah, a couple bought back, but we can still push. We're in a 5v3 scenario. Let's force more buybacks or just take a lane of Rax.
Being down a lane of Rax isn't going to be the worst thing for Vega. Just matches them up pretty close to on par with each other here, but they still need 30 seconds, though, to stall out. Otherwise, they, as you said, will lose up to 2 sets of Rax.
Screw the range Rax. You go bottom now. Yeah, you don't waste time.
Head right south here. Tier 3, which is already down half of its life. Will be an easy finish. No glyph in sight. Still need 13 seconds for this Razor, and another 13 for the Gyro, who does not want to have to buy back, but he will here. A jump in from Mag gets a beautiful stun. Pasha shows up, is going to get knocked with the Beastmaster Roar here, and now they're looking to engage.
Mind control,
a snowball all the way in. A reflected snowball puts Mag into the action. He blinks in. He'll get Jerix with his own snowball help.
He narrowly missed Fata. If he catches Fata, stops his TP, there's no buyback on Beastmaster. I think that's almost game over there. So, very
looking
close
for
catch.
Curl. Mag sees him, gets him with the fissure, and there's going to be the catch-up play. Solo will land the LSA.
Protection.
Follow up enchant, Glimmer. Curl's like, oh, we'll go this way. Maybe he'll be safe there. No, not at all.
Seema has just been on point this game as well. I mean, not to like take away from what the rest of the team has done, but like that's where he blinked away and survived at top lane in the push. He's not had buyback for most of this game. He's playing that hard support role. He bought the Hex. If he's not alive to offer the Hex in these team fights, it's a lot harder for Vega to go for these pushes and to go for those kind of defenses. So Dazzle staying alive has really helped them out.
Defenses are up now for Vega. They pop out a defensive weave, and now they ascend the staircase here mid lane with Rax is already exposed. They're looking to take down 2 sets now all day. There's going to be the call down here. Matama Man will sidestep it. BKB committed here from Pasha.
They don't get mid or top. The top lane melee Rax has mostly healed up. The mid one was a range Rax they were going for, so that will be permanent damage.
A little awkward there for Vega. I don't think that's what they had in mind, pushing down that mid lane.
Neck and neck this game.
It really is. Only game 1. It's a full best of 5 here for this grand final, but both teams recognizing
Solo out of
what's at stake.
defusal charges. He's just been throwing those around. I mean, it's one of those things where I wish there was like a more
Not
obvious
anymore.
effect.
He bought a new recipe, so 8 charges right back.
It's hard to notice like how much he gets done with the defusal in a team fight, like if he's purging off multiple silencers or what, because of how chaotic these fights are.
Oh, yes. I mean, there's just so many crazy antics happening. I don't know if you caught it there, but Mag reflecting the snowball just only puts him closer into the fight. That's one of those things where a Lotus will just come back to bite you in the ass, especially if you're a Tusk. You just think you're going to have an easy snowball in, but it takes so long that it sets up the easy reflection, and when you're trying to use it to get away, it only adds to the chase.
I've seen reflection snowballs work very badly a lot of the time. That's probably one of the spells I've seen lead to the worst use of the Lotus Orb has been snowball. But Vata needs to be careful. He's got no buyback.
He's got birds up, but he's trying to make it away. Does blink dodge the call down here, but the fissure gets help with some Glimmer Cape. Vega on the chase. Oh, he roars himself because of the Lotus Orb, but Mag will still go down. It's well worth it right there. Pasha, though, looking to stand and fight. BKB pop, Matama manning a lot of damage. There's that secondary war. This gyrocopter being held down, and they're going to annihilate Seema, so there'll be no Dazzle assistance here. Pasha still holding on. Will get dropped at the end. What a sidestep from Matama Man. He'll be able to live, and it's going to be a 5-man wipe from Vega. Immediate buyback for no one, but the damage has been done, and 5JuNGz come out huge there.
That fight was so close for both teams. It ends up being what looks like a one-sided fight, but Ember barely gets the gyrocopter. He remnants backwards, finishes him with one last right click, and then remnants out of there. Meanwhile, Fata getting off both roars worked out hugely to his advantage. Earthshaker got off the Lotus Orb to get rid of Global, but he didn't get any spells off. If he uses one spell, he stuns Fata. Fata dies without using Roar. Teamfight 1. But instead, Fata roars, Earthshaker, then roars Gyrocopter, and that's the fight there for 5JuNGz. It was just half a second or less where Earthshaker couldn't get a spell off while he dispelled the silence, which decided that team fight. And no buybacks, just Razor left alone to defend. That may have just won them the game.
Yep. Tier 4s to drop here. The Jugular exposed and about to be taken away here. 5JuNGz are going to be claiming game number 1 of this best of 5, but that could have gone either way. This is high caliber Dota happening right here. There have been, of course, little hiccups, but that's expected with such an intense series.
And it's really hard to point out even many mistakes made by either team. Strategically, they both had great game plans. They itemized great. They moved around the map. Vega in the early game played perfectly from behind on the defensive. And it was just a fantastic showing to start off a best of 5 finals here. 5JuNGz come out on top, maybe showing a bit more of their experience in some of the players of Kuro and Fata, but it was a tight one. And I got to say, Vega showing a lot of promise here.
Well, we got a long series ahead of us. It's just game number 1, but that game 1 will go to the 5JuNGz. When we return, though, we'll go into game number 3 of this grand final. Only one of these 2 teams is going to get the trip to Singapore to compete on land. The other team, their journey ends, and they will get nothing at all. This is Coddle Guy for Beyond the Summit. That's Gods right there, and we'll see you in a few moments for game 2.